How's everyone feeling tonight? Good? Energy up, medium, down?
Medium down.
I'm thinking so I mentioned last week that I'm in my last module of my 300 hour. I literally just finished day 2, like an hour ago. So my brain is everywhere. I've taken in a lot of information about the shoulders and the arms. So we're not going to go, I think, as intensely as we did last week on arms, but I want to work up to Chaturanga, which we've done before at studios. We've peeked to Chaturanga before, but I feel like I've just learned so much about Chaturanga today that I just can't not put it into use and teach it today. Also, I may or may not play my kalimba in Shavasana today. I literally bought it yesterday and started playing it yesterday, so don't expect great things. But I've been learning a couple of songs, and I think it would be just like a cute little thing to do. If you hate it, and I will mess up, I'm sure, but I just want to try it and see how it goes. I think it sounds lovely. My roommates are like, I can't get your music out of my head. It's just my roommate was like, I was in the shower and I couldn't tell if you were actually playing it or it was in my head. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to work on shoulders, and brain mapping is a big part of the shoulders. I talk about this a lot, that this proprioception of kind of like where we are in space with our body, that a lot of times I tell students to bend their elbows and they're like, my elbows are bent, and they're not. It's because sometimes when we are just getting into yoga, or if after we've taken a break from yoga, we haven't gotten that brain mapping, those neurons firing in these areas. And that's what's great about yoga, is we're moving our body in these irregular patterns that we don't day to day. Day to day, we're standing, sitting, walking, not laying down maybe, and that's about it. But in yoga, we're moving our body in these really different positions, these novel positions. So that's kind of what today is. It's some brain mapping. We're going to work the rhomboid, serratus anterior, the whole rotator cuff, and learn about how to chaturanga right. So if you are ever like, I don't feel like I have the energy or the brain neuron capacity right now to do chaturanga, then you know what to do. You know how to modify, or you know how to skip. Okay? All right, let's go ahead and start on our backs today. If you'd prefer to sit, you're welcome to sit. Otherwise, we'll go on our backs. If you have anything to cover the eyes, if you're in the sun, of course, you're welcome to do that. And again, if the sun's too uncomfortable, feel free to sit instead. Anything that's comfortable with the legs, constructive rest, butterfly if you want to get into the hips, or extended long. And same thing with the arms. We think about the legs a lot in this beginning posture, but also think about the arms. What feels right? Hands to belly, one hand on the heart or the belly, maybe a cactus or arms up and overhead. And then taking a moment with eyes open just to look up, notice your surroundings, notice the colors, what can you see? Using visual cues to ground yourself. And then once you feel comfortable, eyes close. Grounding yourself now to your surroundings via your other senses. What can you hear? Can you smell and taste the air, the grass, the trees? What can you feel on your skin? And then taking this awareness now into the breath, without changing any part of it yet, just breathing. Seeing if you can tune your senses into your breath. Just noticing how it feels as it travels in and as it travels out. And then begin to make the breath a little bit more intentional. Taking slower, smoother inhales and longer, steadier exhales. If Ujjayi breath is in your practice, creating that gentle constriction of the throat, giving yourself that audio cue, that sound cue of your breath as well. Yoga is all about breath. Anytime we lose the breath, we come back to the breath. And now with your gaze inward, begin to set your intention for this practice. Your intention is your prayer for this practice, your wish for this practice. When you walk away from your mat tonight, what do you hope to have gained or let go of? Once you've set your intention, glide your hands to your heart, one hand on top of the other. Let's seal those intentions in together. Take a nice big inhale breath like it's the first breath you've taken all day. And nice big sigh out the mouth. Good. Swim both arms up and overhead. Interlace the fingers. Flip the palms up. And stretch long from your palms through your toes. Maybe a little wiggle in the hips side to side. Point and flex the feet. Good. And then slide your right hand behind your head. Left hand comes behind your low back with your palm down on the mat. The more your hand walks up the spine, the deeper that internal rotation. Good. Anytime you're working through the shoulders, it's a good time to check in with the jaw, with the neck and the traps. Good. Shift your weight gently to the right to free that arm. Swim it up and overhead. Reach through the fingers. And switch sides. Left hand behind the skull. Right hand underneath the low back. Just noticing if there's any differences between the sides. There may be a drastic one. There may not be one at all. One more breath here. Good. Free that right hand. Allow it to swim up the grass, up and overhead. Interlace the hands once again. Flip the palms. Stretch long. Inhale. Exhale. Draw your knees into your chest. Give yourself a hug. Take a nice rock side to side. Good. Cactus the arms. Give your hips a shift to the left as your knees fall over to the right for a gentle twist. Both shoulders flat onto your mat. Maybe gaze to the left. Inhale, use your belly strength to draw the legs back up through center. Hips a little shift to the right, knees fall to the left. Good. Inhale, coming back up through center. Start to warm up the core, warm up the body. Bring your legs straight up towards the sky. Reach your arms up to the sky, dead bug pose. Take an inhale. Exhale, curl your shoulders off the mat. Bring your left hand to your right heel. Left leg straightens. right hand comes to the mat. So big swimmers. And then switch, right hand to left leg, left hand to right leg. Right to left, left to right. Good. And switch, switch, switch. Try and keep both shoulders off the mat at all times. Good. Switch and switch, switch, switch. Breath out the mouth. Let's go. 8, 7, shoulders high. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Draw it in. Good. Hands behind the thighs. Rock up and down the spine if that feels okay in your back. Landing in Navasana, boat pose, seeing if maybe you can stick the landing there. Thighs draw to the belly. Option for hands behind you, in front of you, or maybe legs extended. Take an inhale, lower down halfway to where you start to shake. Exhale, curl it up, knees in. Good. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Nice and slow and smooth. Inhale. And lift. Down. And up. Let's go for 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold. Hands to heart. 3, 2, 1. Exhale. Lift. Roll over the knees. Find tabletop. Good. From tabletop, tuck to the toes under. Sit your hips back. We're going to prep the wrists. We did these last week a lot. Arms straight. Tap the hands. Good. As fast as you can, spread the fingers. Then shift forward just an inch. Good. Elbows are still straight. Elbows are locked. Tap, 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 tap. Good. Shift forward a little bit more. Even if nothing is happening, just think about it happening. Maybe fingers aren't lifting at all. That's okay. Shift forward more. Shoulders over the wrists. 3, 2, and 1. Sit back on the heels. Circle out the wrists. Good. Hands come down under the shoulders. Flip the hands around. So fingertips are towards your knees. Wrists facing forward. Palms are down. Sink your weight back, stretching the forearms. Since we're going to be spending lots of time on our hands today, we want the wrists to be prepped and happy. Maybe a little rock side to side. Good. Inhale, shift forward. Flip the hands. Palms are now face up. If the wrists won't flatten, bend the arms until they flatten on the mat. And then start to sink your weight back, stretching the backs of the forearms. Good. Inhale, shift forward, sit back on the heels, nice little circles, loosen it up. Good. Arms up and overhead. Curl your hands into super tiny fists. Really squeeze, and then imagine you have cement on your hands, and you're trying to flick that cement. Here's my face. That cement off. Flick, 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 flick. Good. Arms straight. Reach up. Shoulders lift. Scrunch and flick. Good. Really tight fists. Make every one count. We don't want to be a little lazy here. If your hands aren't tired already, then you're not flicking hard enough. You're not squeezing hard enough. Good. It's almost off. Keep flicking for 3, 2, arms straight, 1. Release, circle it out. Good. Returning back to our tabletop position. Fingers are spread wide. Hands are under the shoulders. Inhale, arch the spine. Take cow pose. Shoulder blades draw together. Exhale. Shoulder blades separate and broaden. Press the mat away. Inhale, shoulder blades together. This is called retraction. Exhale, shoulder blades spread. Protraction. Good. Inhale, retract to cow. Exhale, protract to cat. Good. One more round. Cow pose. Exhale, cat. Good. Inhale, neutral. Tuck the toes under. Hips go up and back, downward facing dog. Take a few breaths here to work through the arms and the legs, the neck. Move any way that feels right for you. Especially since our focus is the arms and the shoulders today. Maybe using this time to send a little love to the legs, a little love to the hips, maybe to the side body, the waist. Good. Eventually arriving in stillness in your downward dog. Inhale, lift the heels. Roll forward so you're in half plank, half down dog in this really weird, awkward position. And then I want you to protract the shoulders like cat pose. Push down, round the upper back. Good. Push down through the finger pads. Keep that in the shoulder blades. Start to lower the heels, send the hips back. Good. So downward dog, those shoulder blades are protracting, meaning your shoulder blades are separating from the spine, wrapping to the side body. Your arms are up and overhead, which means your shoulder blades are also rising. So rather than allowing the shoulders to move away from the ears, push the mat away if the shoulders rise and they rise. Good. Inhale, roll forward to plank. Good. A nice, long, standard, normal plank. Push through the hands. Hands may be wider than shoulder width distance. We're conditioned to just do shoulder width, that's it. Go a little bit wider if that feels better for you. If it doesn't, you can always go back. And then inch your feet back an inch or two so that your hands are a little bit forward of the wrists, maybe 3 inches forward of the wrists. Good. This is the ideal position of the arm bones because your body slopes in a plank pose. Beautiful. Take a breath here. Strong front body. That interior core is pulling up. Take an inhale. Exhale. Push through the mat. Protract the shoulders. Down dog. Beautiful. Take a nice big breath in. Smooth breath out. Inhale, roll forward to your plank pose. Push down through the hands. Feel those shoulder blades protracting. Bring the feet back another couple inches. This is also harder for the core because your arms are bearing a little bit less. Hold just a couple breaths. Hips in line with the shoulders. Maybe take a peek back. Make sure they're there. Good. Nice big inhale. Exhale, knees go wide, child's pose, sit the hips back. Good. Hands can reach forward or go towards the feet, or maybe they interlace around the low back, which can feel really nice. Good. When you're ready, arms slide back forward, roll up to tabletop. Inhale, cow pose, arch the spine, shoulder blades draw together. Exhale, round the spine, cat pose. Good. Inhale, find neutral tabletop. So now we're going to kind of move like cat-cow, but we're not going to move the arms at all. We're not moving the neck at all. These are called, or I just call them shoulder blade push-ups. So your core is going to pull upwards, your front body is going to pull up, and you're going to protract, retract, protract, retract. Okay, join me. Protract, retract. Notice the arms are not bending. It's like you're pulling yourself to the mat, you're pushing the mat away. You're pulling, pushing, pulling, pushing. Good. Continue. Down and lift. Pull the low belly up. Good. A few more rounds. It shouldn't take long for that upper back to start feeling some things. These are the rhomboids, a really important muscle for strong chaturangas, for healthy shoulders. The most common injury in yoga is through sloppy chaturangas done repetitively because we do 12 to 40 of them probably a class. Good, a couple more. Ribs pull to the spine, low belly to the spine. Good. Shoulders away from the ears, pull them back. One more round. Good. Knees wide, sink the hips back, child's pose. Good. Next inhale, rise back up to your tabletop. Press the mat away, protract those shoulder blades, hips go up and back, downward facing dog. Good. Make any adjustments you need to in your downward dog to feel good. Maybe the webbing between thumb and index fingers spin forward, index fingers spin out. On your inhale, look forward, bend the knees, walk your hands back towards your feet. Good. Inhale, take a halfway lift, shoulders up by the hips. Pause here. Halfway lift is our opportunity to strengthen the posterior core. So shoulder blades draw back and down. Good. Ribs pull up, really long, flat spine. Take an inhale. Exhale, refold down. Good. Again, halfway lift, shoulders to hips, shoulders back and down. Exhale, fold. Bend the knees, grab opposite elbow, take ragdoll. Just let everything hang. Feel the upper body decompress. Good. Maybe nodding the torso and the head, yes and no, no and yes. On your next inhale, hands slide up to the hips, bend the knees, push down through the feet to rise all the way up to stand. Good. Step to the top of your mat. Let's start to warm up. Let's start to get flowing here. Standing in Tadasana, feet hip-width distance apart, palms slightly turned forward, strong front body. Take an inhale, arms reach up and overhead, maybe look up. Exhale, hands through center, forward fold. Inhale, that strong halfway lift, shoulders go back and down. Exhale, hands plant, step back to plank. Good. Take an inhale in your plank, shift your weight forward, drop the knees down. Exhale, shoulders go down and back as you lower to the belly. Good. Inhale, locust pose, hands lift, feet lift. Exhale, tuck the toes, downward facing dog. Use the knees to start. Inhale, gaze forward, lift the heels. Exhale, step, walk, or hop to the top. Inhale, breath, halfway lift, strong shoulders. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, reach back up, sweep up. Exhale, straight back down. Just building tempo with the breath. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, plank. Inhale and plank, shift forward, drop the knees. Exhale, shoulders down and back as you lower. Inhale, locust pose, shoulders, again, down and back. You're going to hear me say it 1,000 times today. Exhale, hands plant, lift over the knees, down dog. Good. Inhale, gaze forward. Exhale, step, walk, or hop. Inhale, half lift, shoulders down and back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, refold, last sun A. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, plank. Good. Inhale, shift forward, knees drop. Exhale, shoulders down and back, elbows skim the ribs. Inhale, locust pose, palms down. Exhale, tuck the toes, roll over the knees, down dog. Good, so we're going over modifications first. So when you feel like, I can't even think about doing a chaturanga right now, this is a beautiful way to get down onto the belly and go through your flow in a way that's going to help build that strength. Inhale, gaze forward, bend the knees. Exhale, step, walk, or float. Inhale, takes you up, shoulders down and back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, sweep the arms up, reach up. Exhale, hands through prayer, and release. Good. Adding on, bring your feet wider than you normally would, wider than hip width distance. Inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, Malasana squat, lower down. Take an inhale, Malasana, shoulders down and back. Exhale, push down, rise up. Take an inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lifts. Exhale, fingertips plant. Step the right leg back and drop the knee. Inhale, arms take you up. Low lunge. Exhale, hands plants. Lift the hips, plank. Inhale and plank, shift forward and lower the knees. Exhale, shoulder blades down and back as you lower. Good. Inhale, cobra, up dog, locust, whatever you want. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, lift your right leg up high. Exhale, step your right foot forward, drop the back knee. Inhale, lunge, sweep up. So arms are up and overhead, shoulders lift. Exhale, fingers down, step forward. Inhale, half lift, shoulders back and down. Exhale, fold. Inhale, reach up. Exhale through squats. Inhale and squat. Exhale, fingers down and fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, left leg back, drop the knee. Inhale, lunge. Exhale, plank. Inhale, plank, knees down. Exhale, squeeze those shoulders down as you lower. Inhale, your back bend. Exhale, downward dog. Inhale, left leg lifts. Exhale, step it through. Drop that back knee. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, fingertips down, step forward. Remember, wide stance. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, squats. Inhale and squat. Exhale, fingertips down and fold. Inhale, half lift. You can inch the feet back together if that feels better. Exhale, fingertips down, right leg back. Option to drop the knee or not. Inhale, your lunge, high or low. Exhale, plank. Inhale and plank, knees lower, shift forward. Exhale, elbows skim the ribs. Inhale, your back bend. Exhale, downward dog. Take a breath. Inhale, right leg up high. Exhale, step it through. High or low lunge, inhale. Exhale, fingertips down, step forward. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise up, same tempo. Exhale, squats. Inhale, squat. Just getting in the legs a little bit because we can. Exhale, fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, plank. Step the left leg back rather. High or low lunge, inhale, first legs and arms. Exhale, plank. Inhale, plank, shift forward, knees drop. Exhale, shoulders back and down as you lower. Inhale, your back bend, lifting with the chest. Exhale, down dog. Take a breath. Think about protracting those shoulders here. We're still being intentional. These postures aren't just transitions. Inhale, left leg lifts. Exhale, step it through. Your high or low lunge, gear up the legs and arms go up. Exhale, fingertips down and step. Inhale, half lift, shoulders. Exhale, fold. Inhale, sweep arms up, reach up. Exhale, hands through prayer, And release them down. Good. Inhale, arms reach up and overhead. Exhale, fold. We're just going to find our way in down dog. Inhale, halfway lift, shoulders up and back. Exhale, hands plant, step back to plank. Inhale and plank, shift forward, drop the knees for today. Exhale, shoulders down and back, lower. Inhale, lift the chest first, then to your back bend. Exhale, down dog. Good, we're going to start to no longer move breath to movement, but we still have that even tempo of breath as if you're still going through the salutations. So you can even think in your mind's eye that inhale, arms up, that exhale, fold to help keep your breath on track. Good. Think about those shoulders protracting as you push down through the palms, send the chest back. Beautiful. Take an inhale, lift that right leg up high. Exhale, come forward, one-legged plank. Good. Inhale, push the mat away. Maybe that left arm lifts. Good. Hold for 3, 2, 1. Exhale, down dog. Inhale, three-legged dog. Exhale, knee to nose, step it through. Warrior 2 pose. Inhale, Virabhadrasana 2, heel to heel. Exhale, sink it in. Good. Again, we haven't done a lot with the pelvis today, or with the hips and the legs. So if you want to take a moment, hands to hips, bob it around, just feel it out. Eventually settling in, right hip is pulling up and forward, arms stretch in both directions. Good. Now this is a good place to remember how much the upper back works to lift the arms, these levers that are reaching out. So give the shoulder blades a nice little hug back. Nothing insane. You don't want to be like swan diving towards the side, but just a little hug of those shoulder blades as you draw the shoulders down. That's going to help work this muscle called the serratus anterior, which is super important for our chaturangas, as that muscle is what keeps your scapula to your rib cage, which is what you want when you're doing a push-up. Beautiful. But there's one key thing with the serratus anterior. In order for that muscle to work, these ribs must go back. Okay? So you can pull the shoulders down all you want. You're probably working lats. You got to get those ribs pushing back to the spine like you're wearing a corset to get that muscle to fire. Good. And how often do we think about that during the day? There's a reason this muscle is severely underworked. Good. Take a nice big inhale. Exhale, flip the front hand, reach forward, reverse that warrior up and back. Good. Inhale, find your warrior 2. Exhale, straighten the front leg, bump your hips back as you reach. Trikonasana, triangle pose, stretching up. Good. Take a nice inhale, think about lengthening both sides of your waist. On your exhale, rotate more towards the sky, chin away from the chest. Good. Inhale, left hand to left hip, look down. Bend your front knee. Right fingertips to the grass, lean forward and lift. Half moon pose. Good. Allow the toes and the ankles to calibrate. Eventually, maybe reaching that top arm up. Maybe perhaps that bottom hand starts to hover, but in order to get there, everything else needs to be lit up. Notice the breath. First things first as you come back to the breath. Good. Take an inhale. Exhale. Bring your left hand down to the mat. Forward fold. Good. Inhale. Halfway lift. Bring your hands down into the grass or on your mat. Allow your shoulders to go over your wrists. Lift them to your back toes if that's possible. If not, just stay here. Good. Now, don't be scared. We're going to take just little hops. Just little hops. We're not trying to get into handstand. We're just trying to weight bear more through the arms. Good, so just little hops. Even if that bottom foot lifts 2 inches or a centimeter, I don't care. Good, just little hops for 3. Arms squeezing together, 2, and 1. Good. Send the left foot back, and then the right is coming into your plank. Take an inhale, shift the weight forward. Notice what your body is feeling now after doing all that. Now fathom doing a chaturanga perfectly. Drop the knees down. Shoulders back, shoulders pull together, elbows skim the ribs as you lower. Good. From here, inhale, chest lifts first, then push through the arms, your back bend. Exhale, toes tuck, over the knees, down dog. So it's really common for us to do more work in the arms than that, and then do chaturangas. But all these principles that I've been yapping on and on about this entire time have to apply for a healthy chaturanga, one of the most repetitive postures we do in vinyasa yoga. Good. Take an inhale. Exhale, knees drop, child's pose. Good. Anything that feels right with the arms, of course, you're welcome to grab a sip of water here. We'll take like 6, 7 breaths. Good. We'll all meet in child's pose. So you guys are getting like shoulders 101, like being blasted with a fire hose right now. So if like 90%, even if it's 99% of this is just going right over your head, that's okay. But sometimes you just need to hear things a lot, and then one day they start to sink in and you're able to apply them, and I care about that. So even if you take away just one tiny thing from this, that's all I care about. Good. When you're ready, we'll find downward dog for side number 2. And taking a moment here to first come back to the breath. Smooth inhale. Smooth exhale. Thinking about protracting those shoulders as you push down through the arms. Beautiful adjustments. Take an inhale. Lift your left leg up high, 3-legged dog. Exhale, shift forward, 1-legged plank. Good. Adjust your stance as needed. Good. Strong belly, push down through the mat. Shift your weight just a little bit to reach that right arm forward, maybe. Maybe fingertips stay down. Good. Take an inhale. Exhale, 3-legged dog. Inhale. Exhale, step the foot through to the top, Virabhadrasana 2. Heel to heel. Good. We'll spend some time here. Again, take your time, get into it. We haven't done pretty much anything with the legs today. Maybe lift and spread the toes. Note if they're kind of bunched up. Eventually settling in. Front knee is over front ankle, whether your stance is wide or a little more narrow. And then arms in both directions. Arms energized without being too crazy. And then just a little subtle draw of the shoulder blades together. Shoulders away from the ears. Good. Ribs, you can even use a hand. Touch is really, really helpful. Normally in a yoga class, the teacher can come around and touch you, but not so much right now. Fingertips maybe to ribs as you push them back towards your spine. Good. Maybe when you draw the shoulders down, you feel that muscle kind of underneath the shoulder blades start to kick on, that serratus anterior. That's what you want. Good. Take one more breath in. Breath out. Inhale, front hand flips, reach forward. Exhale, up and back, reverse. Inhale, find warrior 2. Exhale, front leg straightens, bump the hips, reach. Exhale, Trikonasana, reach up to the sky with that right arm. Inhale, pull your heart forward, lengthen both sides of the waist. Exhale, spin the chest open, maybe chin away from the chest, let the head drop back. Good. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, top hand to hip, look down. Bend your front knee, bring your left fingertips forward and to the left. Lean forward and lift, coming into your half moon pose. Good. Once you find your balance, then the top arm lifts. Maybe that bottom arm hovers. Good. Think about that knife edge of that floating foot. Lift that leg high. The more engaged that leg is, the lighter it's going to feel. Beautiful. And if you fall, that's fine. Balance is probably the first thing to go when we're not practicing yoga regularly. And also, we are on grass. We're not on super expensive wood floors. Take a breath in. Exhale, right hand comes down to the mat and forward fold over that leg. Inhale, halfway lift, palms come down. I like to bring my hands forward more, and you can bend that knee as much as you need to get there. And then just little hops, little hops. You know, we're not trying to get into handstand unless you are trying to get into handstand. We're just weight bearing through the arms. We're just tiring the arms. Good. Think about keeping the arms straight. Think about the head not moving as you hop. Good. 3. Very nice. 2. 1. Step the right leg back, and then the left. Hands if you need, plank pose. Now think about doing a chaturanga. We're not going to. Inhale, shift forward, drop the knees. Shoulders down, shoulders back as you lower. Inhale, first chest lifts, then press down, back bend. Exhale, over the knees, downward dog. Come back to the breath first. Come back to the shoulders. Take an inhale and an exhale. Good. Drop the knees down. Child's pose or grab a sip of water. So basically what we've been doing is we've just been doing a pretty standard asana sequence, thinking about these ways that we move, these ways that we challenge the arms, and then arriving in this position where we are ready for a chaturanga, but then realizing all these things that we've been learning and thinking, can I apply these right now? And I'm telling you, I will go into a class and I'll maybe do the first few chaturangas. And then once I start to realize, okay, I'm getting a lot in my head or I'm not focusing on my breath, remembering breath is always priority before chaturanga. And what we've been doing this entire class is a beautiful way to modify and build strength. Just because knees are down doesn't mean you are not working. You're working the right things. You're working the right muscles and you're working the brain. Good. When you're ready, rise up, downward facing dog. Inhale, shift your weight forward, come into plank. Good. So you're in your plank. Your hands are forward of your shoulders because I told you so. Bring your right hand forward even more. Right hand forward even more. Bring your feet together. Roll to the knife edge of your right foot. Open up, side plank. Option to modify by bringing right knee down. Good. Again, modifying doesn't mean that you're taking away everything beneficial in this pose. You're still doing an amazing job building strength. Good. In the side plank, your hand is forward of your shoulder because that is the optimal position for that upper arm bone. That's all you need to know. Good. Right hand is forward of that shoulder. If it's not forward of that shoulder, adjust your stance. Good. Push down through that hand. Reach up through that top arm. Lift the hips up like your rainbow arc in the body. Good. Take a nice big inhale. Beautiful. Exhale with control. Arrive in plank. Think about doing a chaturanga. Inhale, shift forward. Drop the knees. Exhale, shoulders away from the ears and back. Inhale, lift with the chest. Then the hands as you straighten back bend. Beautiful. Exhale, over the knees, downward dog. And again, I'm not trying to insinuate no one here is strong enough to do all these chaturangas by making you bring knees down. It's just what we're doing today. Inhale, shift forward, plank. Good. Hands are in front of the shoulders, just a touch. And then bring your left hand even more forward. Bring your feet together. Roll to the knife edge of your left foot or modify. If you're working on arms today a lot, if your arms are tired, modify. I'd rather, side plank is probably one of the hardest yoga poses for 99% of people. Good. Anchor through the feet, lift the hips, and push that mat away with that bottom arm. Beautiful. Now think about that bottom shoulder. Pull it back away from the ear. Pull it down away from the ear. Good. One more breath in. With control, find plank. Take an inhale. Shift forward. Drop the knees. Exhale. Chaturanga. Shoulders down and back. Good. Inhale. Lift the chest first. Then press to your back bend. Exhale. Over the knees. Downward dog. Good. Take a breath. Exhale, drop the knees, look forward. We've made it to our peak pose, chaturanga, finally. So, chaturanga is interesting. Okay, I'm not going to go too much into this because you can probably tell my brain is just overflowing right now. The humerus is the upper arm bone. This is the bone you want to think about when you're doing chaturanga. Bring your arms to chaturanga position. So that right angle. So the reason we want our arm bisecting the rib cage, so not back here. Look at the front of my shoulder. Where is it? What's my front shoulder doing when my elbow goes back? It's rotating forward and down. But often what happens when we start to weight there through the arm, that goes forward and down. And when your shoulder goes forward and then it goes up to the ear, this is the most compromising position possible for your rotator cuff. And then think about doing that 20, 40 times in every vinyasa class you do. So there's a really essential reason we keep that arm bisecting the ribs, so not back here, which is extension, not here, which is flexion. 0 degrees. And there's a reason we have the elbows skim the ribs, because we don't want it doing this either. Notice the front arm bone. We want this to stay completely neutral and strong. So often we think a lot about that retraction of the shoulder blades, but what we forget is the depression. We're always trying to forget about our depression, but we must acknowledge it now. Shoulder blades back. Shoulder blades squeeze together. And then you'll notice a lot of teachers say lower halfway. That's not just for fun. That's not just to conserve energy. That's because, again, you don't want that upper arm bone going forward past that 90-degree angle where it's in a compromised position. Now, some people are strong enough where they can do that, and that's fine. But we're talking about the majority of people who sit with their humerus bone where? In that position that we don't want it to be all damn day. So, how to chaturanga. Now, if you don't want to chaturanga all the way today, that's totally cool. Knees down, you'll do exactly what we did, but we're just going to do it more mindfully. So from your chaturanga, hands are shoulder width or wider. You're going to think about shifting that weight forward so you can create that right angle. You want that serratus anterior, yeah? So ribs pull up, shoulders go down, okay? When you're starting, shoulder blades are protracting. As you're lowering, retraction, 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 halfway, untuck the toes, drop the pelvis, back bend, okay? So you notice how this never happens? You go halfway, feet, pelvis, there. Saves a lot of energy, and it keeps that shoulder from going like this, right? Does that make sense? Anyone have questions about that? Okay, let's try. And again, I know that was about 8,000 things at once. Just pretend like you absorbed it all and we'll just do it. I'm not gonna like critique you guys. Come into plank. Remember, you can always bring these down.
Chaturanga then.
What?
Plank isn't chaturanga.
Plank is not chaturanga.
Yeah, you're going forward.
Yes, you are going forward. You don't sit where you are in chaturanga. You need to go forward in order to get that elbow over the wrist as you lower. And then you stop. Okay? So give it a try. Remember, ribs must pull up for serratus anterior to fire, which is what helps draw your shoulders down. That motion of shoulder blades retraction, squeezing together, is happening as you lower. That's the brain mapping. That's truly probably the hardest part, is thinking very hard as you're lowering. Shoulders down and squeezing, 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 stop, and then pressing up to your back bend. So when you're weight bearing through the shoulder, whether you're doing chaturanga or whether you're doing side plank, this bottom weight bearing shoulder, your humerus, is not going forward. Ouchie wawa. I've injured my arm even doing side plank or where bottom leg is going forward here so many times. This bottom shoulder is essential. Back. That's optimal position because then it's like this. It's neutral. It's not forward enough. Because this is what your arm is doing when you're doing this, like this, right? Okay, any questions?
Can you do it one more time, demonstrating how to practice
With knees down, for sure. So again, knees down is a really good way because when you do this, you're weight bearing a lot more through your arms. Bringing knees down isn't like a cheat. Bringing knees down is a way to offset a lot of your load so that you can do your chaturanga more mindfully. I do most chaturangas with knees down. So with knees down, you're gonna think about the same thing. You gotta think about plank, not tabletop, is an important thing. You're not in tabletop. So your hips are forward and down, right? So I like to start in plank, knees down, ribs up, shoulders back. As I squeeze, shoulders go back, land halfway, toes, pelvis, back bend. Back bend, shoulders down and back. And then exhale, same thing, roll over the knees. Yeah. Okay? Let's come onto our backs. Coming onto your backs, cactus the arms, or bring them to a T, whatever feels most spacious for you. Plant the soles of the feet under the knees. Shift your hips to the left, drop your knees to the right. Good. Couple breaths here in this twist. So as we begin to let go of the physical practice and having me just bark out 2 days worth of anatomy at you, just let your mind be at ease here. If you're steeping and processing in the information, that's okay. But allow the body to let go of all of that processing. Inhale, bring the knees back up through center. Exhale, hips shift to the right, knees fall to the left, twist other side. And part of the reason we're not ending with any shoulder openers after doing all that work is because we want to be strong in the shoulders. We don't want to kind of loosen up all that hard work we just did to help get those neurons firing in the brain. Good. Inhale, bring the knees back up through center. Bring the feet as wide as your mat. Just let the knees windshield wiper side to side. Just bringing some movement into the hip joints, to the spine. Just Just letting the arms be totally kaput. And then coming back up through center, extend the legs long, reach the arms up and overhead. Grab opposite hand, wrist, or forearm or elbow, whatever allows your arms to be flat on the mat above you. Walk your feet over to the right. Walk your shoulders towards your feet so you're making a banana shape. You're kind of inchworming yourself into a half moon shape. So if you're confused, you're literally just doing this on your mat. Maybe bringing the left ankle over the right, if that feels okay. Beautiful. Inhale, inchworm your way back through center, stretch long. Exhale, other side, feet walk towards the left, arch through the side body, maybe right ankle over the left. Inhale, come back through center. One last big stretch from your hands to your feet. Inhale. Exhale, knees drawn to the chest. Give yourself a final tight hug, maybe a rock side to side. And then when you're ready, begin to unfurl to find your Shavasana position. Anything that feels right. As always, you're welcome to take a seated meditation. Maybe finding something to cover the eyes as you take one final breath in and breath out. Enjoy your well-deserved rest. I'll wake you when it's time. only if you feel ready to come back. Take a deep breath in through the nose. And a nice big sigh out through the mouth. Allowing the head to gently rock side to side. Bringing subtle movements back through the fingertips and the toes. Eventually stretching the arms up and overhead like you're waking up for the very first time today. And then rolling over onto your favorite side and pausing there in your fetal position. Taking the first moment of your fresh start, of your rebirth after your practice to think of one thing you feel especially grateful for today. Now, once you've given thanks, keep the eyes closed as you make your way up to a comfortable seat. Palms drawing together at prayer. Head bowed towards your fingertips. Coming back to that intention you set for your personal practice. Choosing whether you'd like to take that intention with you, leave it on your mat, or maybe taking this time to set a brand new intention for the rest of your evening. Together, we'll seal in this practice we've had together with one final breath as a collective. Take a big inhale, fill up. Nice big sigh. Bring your thumbs up to your third eye center. Loka samasta sukhi no bhavantu. May all beings everywhere be happy and free. Namaste.
Namaste.
Happy Tuesday, everybody. Thanks so much. Hope you learned at least one thing during all that. If you have any questions at all, I have nowhere to be. I'm happy to answer any questions you have. And we're going to continue with the similar thing on Thursday just to smash it in even more. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Yeah.
If we want to practice more for like chaturanga breath when we get home, do you think that like protraction and retraction of these muscles is the best?
Totally.
Okay.
If getting the shoulder blades to go back and down is really challenging for the brain, that's really normal because we're in this state of flexion or extension all day, flexion rather. So a lot of times it does take a while to really get those rhomboids thickened up and strong. And that's a really good thing because you're thinking not only of the rhomboids and the shoulder blades protracting, retracting, but you're also starting to wake up the serratus anterior, like the sleepiest muscle on the planet, and start to get that firing. Yeah, totally, for sure. Do those.